The 2024 season is officially underway, and there are quite a few roller coasters opening this year. This is a list of the new roller coasters I'm most excited to ride and that I also realistically will be able to ride, so we won't be able to talk about stuff like Voltron at Europa Park or anything else like that. First up is Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point, which is a reimagining of Top Thrill Dragster. The unreliable hydraulic launch has been replaced by LSMs, and there's now a large 420-foot tall spike for a swing launch into the top hat. These modifications and the construction were completed by Zamperla, which I recall most not having a good feeling about. Worth mentioning, though, is that the ride's queue was not relocated despite the injury that occurred to a guest in 2021. The queue will now be covered, removing the possibility of even seeing the top hat, and the station appears to be quite different due to the nature of the retooled launch configuration. I'm super curious to see how all this affects the ride's throughput, along with Zamperla's track switch system, which will allow for loading the next train as the current one completes the launch sequence. Overall, as long as the reliability is better than Top Thrill Dragsters, I say that this is a big upgrade and hopefully there will be some kind of music or audio cue to signify the launch as they had before. Seaworld Orlando is finally reopening the Antarctica section of the park, formerly where Antarctica Empire of the Penguin, a trackless dark ride, used to be. Penguin Trek is a family launch roller coaster where you board your snowmobile and race along with your expedition team at up to 43 miles per hour, navigating twists and turns and narrowly escaping the crumbling hazards of an icy cavern. Reminding me of how, on Manta, you used to see aquariums as part of the attraction, Penguin Trek will include a penguin habitat. This track layout looks like it will go indoor and outdoor, being designed by B&M and utilizing an LSM launch system. Among the other coasters in the park, I believe this will slot itself well as a solid addition and step up for the smaller enthusiasts who have already conquered the Grover's roller coaster but aren't quite ready yet for Mako. After the unfortunate closure of Alpine Bobsled at Six Flags Great Escape, rumors were swirling about what might be coming in its place. This is one of the smaller and very family-oriented parks in the Six Flags chain, mostly known for having a collection of roller coasters that have been moved there from other parks. Alpine Bobsled was known to have a pretty rough downtime, and it actually took me multiple visits before I was able to catch this on a day it was running. To my surprise, Bobcat, a custom wooden roller coaster from Gravity Group, was announced to be opening this year. This is definitely going to add some reliable capacity to the park while being similar in terms of thrills for families. Now, this park hasn't seen any new investment since the kiddie coaster Frankie's Mine Train in 2005, as well as a custom layout roller coaster in 2003 with Canyon Blaster. So to say Great Escape was overdue for a new coaster is an understatement. This will also be bringing the wood coaster count to 2, joining the more intense and classic Comet at the back of the park. They should complement each other quite nicely within this lineup. Bobcat will feature a top speed of 40 miles per hour and a max height of 55 feet. These numbers may not sound like much, but after having ridden other Gravity Group family coasters like Oscar's Wacky Taxi and Rorosaurus, I can definitely say that this is going to be a fun and solid experience for all riders regardless of age. Now, Bobcat will share some similarities with Timber over in Europe, with a few small modifications to the ending, which I see as improvements overall. I'm expecting to laugh a lot riding this, as the airtime and ejector on Gravity Group coasters are truly a unique experience. This year, Six Flags Great Adventure will be celebrating their 50th anniversary with the installation of their 15th roller coaster, Flash Vertical Velocity. This ride will be a launched boomerang coaster featuring 7 launches, 4 inversions, standing at 164 feet tall, and reaching speeds of up to 59 miles per hour. Great Adventure is calling this a family coaster, and it's certainly a unique layout to be sure, as one of only 2 Vekoma Super Boomerangs to exist. Unfortunately, Flash Vertical Velocity will likely only operate with 1 train, as can be noted from the lack of a turntable or other measures at the station to increase throughput. Due to this constraint and its location at the front of the park, I'm already picturing the long lines. Hopefully, there are plans for a single rider line and any other solutions in helping ensure the throughput is as high as possible. I'm expecting a loose article policy much like the other coasters at the park, hopefully utilizing double-sided lockers for a change. Overall, a low-throughput roller coaster at a park like Great Adventure doesn't feel like the best match, but I'm excited to see how this all actually plays out in reality. Now for the number 1 coaster that I'm most excited to be able to ride this year, we head over to Dorney Park, who, for the first time in almost 20 years, since Hydra the Revenge was opened, will be getting the Iron Menace. Iron Menace is 160 feet tall, sports a 95-degree drop, and 4 different kinds of inversions. It has a classic Immelman, a 0G roll, and a tilted loop, which I believe is a first for a dive coaster, followed by a corkscrew going into the brake run. Emperor at Seaworld, which I recently rode, seems to share some similarities, although the 7 across seating and the layout are much more akin to Dr. Diabolical, which I haven't ridden yet. One thing aside from the ride itself, it's been interesting to follow is that there's a storyline that Dorney Park has built up around Iron Menace. The story takes place in the 1930s at the McTavish steel mill, where the owner Hiram S. McTavish built a massive hauler dubbed the Iron Menace to move workers and ore at a dizzying speed. At some point, the Baron McTavish would disappear, and the steel mill would be closed with an empty husk of its former glory remaining, as well as rumors of the old Baron's whereabouts. This story is also expanded as a haunt attraction called Ghosts in the Machine, in which you encounter the spirit of McTavish at the old steel mill. We love good theming and good storytelling, and I give Dorney Park a lot of respect for going all in on Iron Menace. It's surprising, however, that this will actually be the first dive coaster in the Northeast, as the closest are either Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg or Valraven at Cedar Point. All in all, I'm really excited for Iron Menace, although looking at Dorney's overall lineup, this isn't as standout as, say, maybe a modern wooden coaster would have been. That being said, I'm just glad to see Dorney Park getting some investment from Cedar Fair, as it's known for having some pretty well-reviewed events and successful seasons. So those are the 5 roller coasters new for 2024 that I'm most excited to be able to ride this year. Comment down below what yours are and your thoughts on any of the ones that I've mentioned. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the parks.